Hey everyone, is my audio clear? Hi guys, do you hear me clearly? Hi guys, do you hear me clearly? Okay, thank you, Angelica. Hi everyone, let's just wait for others and then we'll begin with our live session. I'm glad to see all of you. And later after the lecture, I'll be giving you an update. Please tell your classmates to join now so we can start. Hi guys. So we're only 40. Please advise your classmates to join now so we can start the discussion. So this will be the last factoring that you will learn. And the next topic will be about rational algebraic expressions. And factoring is necessary as rational algebraic expressions will be discussed to you as well as the operations on rational algebraic expressions. So you should not forget the patterns that I have introduced to you in factoring. So with us also are our student teachers. So I'm expecting three classes to be present in this live session. So I'm waiting for, I guess, half of the grade 8 students because we're only 50 here for a while. Wala na pong aalis. Okay, so I'll start sharing my screen now. Okay, do you see what's on my screen now? So I'm sharing the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, guys. So as what I was saying, I'll be discussing factoring for today, and this time we will be factoring quadratic trinomial. So the last factoring that you learned was trinomial, but the trinomial falls under perfect square trinomial. So for today, we will just be dealing with just trinomial. Okay, so whether it's a perfect square trinomial or just an ordinary quadratic trinomial. So my question here is, how can you describe quadratic trinomial? So anyone can participate. You can comment your idea on your description as regards to quadratic trinomials. So just type in your comment. And for you to have the idea, these are examples of quadratic trinomials. So we have x squared minus 5x minus 14, 3x squared plus 13x plus 4, and then we have 10x squared minus 33x minus 7. So these are all quadratic trinomials. So anyone from the audience can tell me what do you think is a quadratic trinomial? So there is an answer here already. It's an expression with three terms and in the degree 2. So that's according to Lawrence Bersica. And that's correct. Okay. Thank you, Lawrence, for sharing your idea about quadratic trinomial. So from the word trinomial, guys, it's still polynomial with three terms, but we have to consider the degree. And we only focus or limit our factoring here with trinomial of degree 2. Okay, so as you can see in the examples here, we have everything polynomials with three terms. Okay, and look at the degree of each trinomial. So everything is in degree 2. Now, if you remember working on special products, though I was not able to introduce to you working on FOIL, this is about multiplying two binomials. Like, for example, you multiply x plus a to x plus b. And if we consider FOIL, anyone knows what is FOIL? Can you comment that? Can you write that in the comment box? This is an abbreviation, so anyone can recall what's FOIL. First, outer, inner, last terms. That's according to Aaron Varilla, and that's correct, no? So this is an acronym for working on the products between the first terms of the binomial, the outer terms, the inner terms, and the last terms. Okay? So first, outer, inner, and then we have the last terms here. Okay? So that's how we multiply. And I told you that factoring is the reverse of multiplication, particularly reverse of special products. So working on FOIL, so we multiply the first terms. So we have x squared here. and then we multiply the outer terms. So we have AB, dx rather, and then we have the the product of the inner terms. So we have ax here, and then the product of the last terms. So we have AB. So take note that we can combine bx and ax because they are similar. Okay? So they are similar in the sense that they have the same literal coefficient. So we have the reason why we recall FOIL, guys, and this is something to do with how we factor quadratic trinomial. Okay? So basically, what we're going to do is like we identify the factors of the first and the last terms, and then we associate that with the middle term. And take note, guys, that the middle term is the result as we combine this bx and ax here. So what we're going to do in factoring is basically, particularly factoring quadratic trinomial, is basically working on the factors of the first term, the second term, and then we have to relate that with the middle term. And take note that the middle term is the combination of the OI here, the outer term and the inner terms. Okay? So let's try to work on factoring each of these quadratic trinomial. Okay, so we have 5x squared plus 10x minus 15. So you can also try working on your factors. But basically, as we factor quadratic trinomial, we are working on trial and error here. So they call it trial and error, but of course, our goal is to come up with the correct factors. So it has to be trial and success. But this is more popularly known than what I was saying, trial and success, no? So trial and error in a sense that we will just work on, or we're going to work on the factors of the first term and the last term. So, but before we do that, consider the given trinomial here. If each term of the trinomial, guys, has common factor, I guess what we're going to do is to move out that common factor for us to easily work on the two binomial factors. So in this case, we have 5 as the common factor, and then we divide each term by this common factor. So we have 5x squared divided by 5, we have x squared here. And then we divide 10x by 5, so we have 2x. And then negative 15 divided by 5, we have minus 3 here. Well, the second factor is still factorable. In fact, this is again a quadratic trinomial. So do not forget that this 5 here is also one of the factors of the given quadratic trinomial here. So this is what I was saying. We have to consider the factors of the first term as well as the factors of the last term. Now, since the coefficient of this x squared is 1, and although 1 is neither a prime number nor a composite number, we know that the only factor of 1 is 1 in itself, 1. So we have to write 5 here, and then we have, you can type or comment your final factors. Okay, there. So we'll have x and x here. And then again, negative 3 class is a prime number. So meaning the only factor of negative 3 is negative 3 and 1. Okay? And take note that we are working on multiplication. So if we're thinking of a factor for negative 3, one factor must be addition or positive, the other one is subtraction. So maybe we can consider either 1 or negative 3, or negative 1 or positive 3. But never that both factors must be negative, or both factors must be negative. One has to be positive, the other one must be negative. So if like we're going to place 1 here and then 3 here, let's disregard 5 first, and then let's consider this second factor. And we have to consider this 2x as the middle term of this quadratic trinomial. I'm referring to the second factor, 2x. So we have to be careful on the sign, like if we consider this as negative and this is positive. And if we perform FOIL, of course, we are very much sure that the product of the first term will be equal to the product of the first term here, because our basis as we place x and x here, 1 and 1 are factors of 1, as well as negative 1 and 3 are factors of negative 3. So as we multiply negative 1 and 3, we'll get negative 3. But the only thing that we have to be sure of is the middle term. As we work on the OI, the outer term, working on the product of the outer terms and the inner terms, it has to be the middle term here. So this is negative x, and this one is 3x. If we combine the two, so we get 2x with that matches with the middle term here. So, meaning, guys, these are the factors. 5 quantity x minus 1 times quantity x plus 3. Okay? So if you have question, you can comment your question as well. So I'm monitoring also your comment in the live chat via YouTube channel, although I'm using StreamYard. Okay, so I'm using two gadgets. Okay, for this one, it's still the trinomial here has common factor, so we have moved out that common factor, and that common factor is equal to. Okay. Okay, that's noted, Jared. So Karil is present. Okay. So we will divide each term here by 3. So we get x squared. As we divide 3x by 3, so we get x. And then negative 6 by 3, we get negative 2. So this is quadratic trinomial, and we have to factor this out. So we have to consider 3 as one of the factors already. And then the factors of quadratic trinomial are two binomial factors, such that we'll consider the factors of the first and the last terms. Now, with the first and the second example class, it's easier for us to find the factors because both the first and the last terms are prime numbers, no? Though one is not prime number. I mean, we can easily work on the factors. Like in the case of number 2, so we only have x and x here for the factors of x squared. While for 2, so it's either positive 1 and negative 2 or vice versa. I mean negative 1 or and positive 2. We have to work on the middle term. So the middle term is a plus sign. So meaning, if you remember, in combining unlike signs, I mean adding, no, in adding unlike signs, remember that we do subtraction, and then we consider the sign of greater value. Like, for example, if we're going to add negative 2 and positive 1, the result would be negative 1. So we work on the difference between 2 and 1, and that's 1. Since negative 2, I mean 2 is greater than 1, and the sign of and the sign of 2 is negative, so we consider the negative value. So that's the idea on adding dissimilar signs or unlike signs. For 2, so of course, this is 1 and 2, but we just have to think of the fact of the sign. Since this is positive, so this must be plus 2 and this must be minus 1. Okay? So we have to check the middle term. Again, we are sure that x times x is x squared, while negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. How about the middle term? Is it positive x? So this is negative x, while this one is 2x. So 2x minus x gives us x. So really, these are the factors. So let me just rewrite the factors. So the factors are 3, quantity x minus 1 times quantity x plus 2. So these are the factors, guys. Okay? Okay. Yes, Karil. Nakapag-comment ka na. Sige. Okay. So again, the quadratic trinomial has common factor, and the common factor is 4. So we have to move out that, I mean, greatest common factor. So we have to move out that greatest common factor, and that greatest common factor is 4x. So we will divide each of these terms by the GCF 4x. So as we divide 4x cubed plus 4x, so we get x squared. And then 28x squared divided by 4x, so we have 7x. And then 40x divided by 4, so we have plus 10. Now, the second factor again is quadratic trinomial, and we have to work on the factors of this. So we write 4x, which is the GCF, and then we have to work on the two binomial factors of this quadratic trinomial. Okay, so x squared, so we have x and x here. For 10, guys, so factors of 10, we have 2 times 5. We also have 1 times 10. Okay, now in deciding as to, really, the screen is blurry. How about the others? Okay. I guess it's something to do with your screen, Angelica. Okay, okay. So I'll continue. Now, as regards to what I was saying, so the factors of 10, so pair of factors for 10, we have 2, 5, and then 1, 10. Okay? Now, we have to consider the middle term 7x. Now, since everything is positive here, guys, no, so it's easier for us to work on the factors. So we're going to consider a pair of positive factors. Take note that the factors of positive is either a pair of negative or a pair of positive. Because when we say negative 2 times negative 5, that equals positive 10, as well as multiplying positive 2 and positive 5, that gives us positive 10 also. Since the middle term class is a plus sign, so we have to disregard, or we're not going to consider a pair of negative factors. So everything must be positive here. Now, between the pair of factors 2, 5, 1, 10, which between the two pairs of factors such that when you add will result to 7. And that's 2 and 5, right? So the factors here are x plus 2 and x plus 5. So, well, as we work on the sum of the OI here, so this is 2x and then this is 5x. So we get the sum, that's 7x. So these are the factors. Okay? Again, so for the fourth example, we still have common factor. So we'll work on the GCF between each of these terms. So the GCF is 3x. And then we divide each term here by 3x. So we have 3x cubed divided by 3x. So we have x squared. And then negative 9x squared divided by 3x. So we have negative 3x. 6x divided by 3x. So we get 2. Okay, so we have now second factor, which is quadratic trinomial again. So we're going to work on the factors. So we have to write 3x, whereas not to forget that 3x is one of the factors also. So we have x here and then x here. Take note that the last term is positive 2. Again, same with the third example, positive 10. So the factors of positive 2 is either a pair of negative factors or a pair of positive factors. Since the middle term class is a minus sign, so we're going to consider a pair of negative factors. And that's easy for us since we are only looking for the factors of 2, and 2 is a prime number. So the factor of 1 and 2 are, the factors of 2 are 1 and 2. But we have to consider negative 1 and negative 2. Okay? So as we work on the OI, negative 1 times x gives us negative x, and x times negative 2 gives us negative 2x. So the sum equals negative 3x. So really, these are the factors. Guys, if you have questions, do not hesitate to comment your questions. So I can see from time to time your comment. So just comment your question if you have question as regards to the given or the example. Okay. Here. So for number 6, I guess we don't have common factors, so we will go directly to working on the factors. It's kind of hard since the first and the last terms are not prime numbers, so there are many possible factors for 6 and 8. And we will be working on the combination, and we will compare that with the middle term. So here, the factors for 6 are 2 and 3. We have 1 and 6. For 18, we have 1 and 18. We have 2 and 9. We have 3 and 6. We have, yan. So we only have 3 pairs pala. But this is 23x. Okay? So if we try 2x first and 3x, okay? So if we try 2x and 3x here, and then this is 23. So maybe we can like consider 2 and 9. Like if we place 9 here, and then we place 2 here. Since the middle term is positive, if we consider positive here and then negative here, take note that this is negative 18. So one factor must be positive, the other factor must be negative for negative 18. That's why we have positive 9 and negative 2. But we just have to check the middle term. So this is 27x, while the product of the outer terms class is negative 4x. Now, as we add negative 4x to 27x, we'll get 23x. So meaning, these are the factors. 2x plus 9 times quantity 3x minus 2. Okay? So far, is the discussion clear? Okay naman? Sige, let's move on with number 6 question, or number 6 quadratic trinomial. Although x squared, the factors are x and x, but for 20, we will consider some factors of 20. Okay? So we have burahin ko lang to ha. Oh, ba na ginawa ko? Erase. Okay, it has to be erased. Okay. Here. So x and x here, guys. Now, positive 20 is the last term, and the factors of positive 20, or I'm referring to the sign, is either a pair of positive or a pair of negative. But then the middle term is a negative sign. So we're going to consider a pair of negative factors. And then another thing that we have to consider, which among the pair of factors of 20, okay, so what are the factors of 20 pair of factors? So 120, 1 times 20, 2 times 10, what else? 2 times 10, 4 times 5, 3. Okay. We have 3 pairs of factor. Now, among the pairs of factor for 20, which among the pairs of factors, when you add, will result to 9? Because the middle term is 9. Well, very obviously that we're going to consider 4 and 5. And then we're going to consider multiplying negative 4 and negative 5, since as we add negative 4 and negative 5 will lead to negative 9. Okay? So this is minus 4 minus 5. By the way, since multiplication class is commutative, I'd like to remind you that the order of factor does not matter. Like when you consider x minus 5 as the first factor and x minus 4 as the second factor, it doesn't matter. It's the same with multiplying x minus 4 to x minus 5. Pares lang yon. So as we work on the OI here, I mean, the product of the outer term, x times negative 5, that's negative 5x. And then the product of negative 4 and x, that's negative 4x. So as we combine the two, we'll get negative 9x. So these are the factors. Okay? So far, so good daw. Okay. Thank you for that feedback, Reggie Ray. Okay, how about for this one? So no common factor is observed among the three terms here. So we're going to work on trial and error again by considering the factors of the first and the last terms and compare that with the middle term. Since 2x squared, so one is 2x, the other one is x, or vice versa. Now, this is negative 49, so meaning the factors are positive and negative. So since it's 49, I guess we only have two pair of factors. 1 times 49 and then 7 times 7. If we're going to consider 7 times 7, like we place 7 here and then the other 7 here, wala naman palang choice, no? We just have to be careful on the sign that we're going to choose in each factor. Like this is negative 7x. I guess this must be negative and this must be positive. So when we perform the OI, as we combine the OI, I mean the result as we multiply the outer terms and the inner terms, we'll get negative 7x. And 2x times negative 7 is negative 14x plus 7 and 7 times x, so that's 7x. So that leads us to negative 7x. So these are the factors. Okay? Number 8. So again, we'll go straight to trial and error. So one is 5x, the other one is x. Or you can place x here and then 5x here. And then 7. 7 is a prime number, guys. So the only factor is 7 and 1. So it depends. So it has to be, you have to decide as to which are you going to place 1 and 7. Since the middle term is quite big, so we have, I guess, to place 7 here and then 1 here. And everything is negative since the middle term is negative, right? So the product of 5x and negative 7 is negative 35x, while the product of negative 1 and x is negative x, and that gives us 2 negative 36x as we combine the two. Okay, so these are the factors. Okay, how about for this one? Here. So we have 2x here, and then we have x here. So 15. Now, this is negative x, okay? So, we have to consider, I guess, 3 and 5 because if we're going to consider 1 and 15, I guess we will not be able to achieve this negative x middle term. No, it will not match with the middle term. And then the next thing that we're going to do is if we consider, for example, 3 and 5, which are we going to place 3 as well as 5? Okay. So I guess this will be 5 and this is 3. And then since this is middle term, you just have to compare which product will result to a greater value. And then whichever product is that, you place the negative sign. So for example, the product of 2x and 3 is greater than the product of 5 and x. So therefore, this must be negative and then the other one is positive. So this is 5x while this one is negative 6x. So we get negative x. Okay? Okay, number 10. So we have everything is positive. So we're going to consider a pair positive factor for 7. And 7 is a prime number. So the only factors for 7 are 1 and 7. So this must be x plus 1, x plus 7. Okay? And it matches with the middle term. Kasi we don't have any choice, like the factors for x squared are x and x, and then the factors for 7 are 1 and 7. And then everything is positive. So we can directly write x plus 1, x plus 7, or vice versa. Okay? So, question in mind? May mga tanong? Okay, now this time, before I reveal the answer, I want you to type your final factors. Okay? Okay, for number 1, You work on the factors for number 1 and then type your answers. Angelica, the one being discussed in the module is the same thing with what I'm discussing. No, it's just that the factors for the first and the last terms were identified. Well, it's up to you as to which part you want to start. If, for example, you want to start with working on the factors of the first and the last term, or manipulating the middle term. So it depends on you as to which do you find it easier. Okay? I guess I was able to answer your question, Angelica. Okay, may answer na si Rian. Si Rian Peregrine. How about yung iba? Before I reveal the answer, I guess, siguro majority provide their answer on the comment box. I'm glad, though you are just watching over my YouTube channel, you keep on participating, you keep on asking question, and it's a good indication that you are all listening or you made an advanced reading. Okay. So Rovi and Rian Peregrine have the same answer. Same goes with Mark Lewis. Same with Lawrence. How about others? Mhm. Okay, same answers. So far, pare-pares pa ng factors, no? You all agree with the factors. Okay. Naiiba yung nako-convert sa emoji yung ibang answers nyo. I guess it's because of the parenthesis thing. Okay. Same lang, no? You all agree with the answer. And your answer is correct, guys, no? So this is equal to x plus 1, x minus 8. Okay? Now, 8 has, so 8 is a composite number. So the factors of 8 is not just 8 in itself, but as well as other factors such as 2 and 4. But then, we are thinking of like adding, wait lang ha. Okay. Oh, it has to be minus 8, sorry. Minus 8 to, guys, ha. Pero tama yung mga answers nyo, ha. Okay. Wait. If this is plus, ayan ba yung factors nyo? Wait lang, ha. I intended to give x squared minus 7x minus 8. But let's check. I'll erase this one, no? Erase ko muna to. X plus 1, x minus 8, no? Kasi if it's x plus 1, 8, x minus 8, so x plus 1, x minus 8, x squared, magma-minus kasi to eh, di ba? So siguro you assume that the last term has to be minus sign, no? Okay. Galing nyo mag-predict, ha? Okay. So minus ito, no? And that matches with your answer. Okay. Wait. Here, minus. So this is x plus 1, x minus 8. Okay? Kasi the product of the factors for negative 8 is 1 positive and 1 negative, no? So, positive 1 and negative 8. Okay, sorry for this one. Sorry for making you confused on number 1. How about for number 2? O, dyan wala ng correction, guys. Thank you for placing your answer in the comment box. Karil, Jake, Alfred, Arman, Kasley, Gabriel, Julia, Lawrence, Gerald, Julian, and many more, no? I'm sorry to those I haven't mentioned yet. Okay, may sagot na si Reggie Ray. And so far, same ng mga answers. Reggie Ray, Lawrence, Meji, Rian Peregrine, Aaron, Eliza, Rovi. They got the same answer. Okay, si Kurt din, same answer. Okay, Alan, Angelica, okay, Harvey, Eunice, and that is correct. Okay, so it's x plus 3, quantity 2x minus 1. Okay, so whichever will be the first factor, it doesn't matter, no? How about for this? Okay, number 3 na tayo, guys. Okay, may answer na si Angelica. 3x minus 1, quantity x plus 1. Same answer with Reggie Ray, Meji, Julian, Rian Peregrine, Aaron, Arlene, Eliza, Rovi, Mark, okay, Irish, Princess, John, Matthew, okay, Jake, Jared, Jana, Cristel, Josh. Okay, and that's correct, guys. Number 3. So we have quantity 3x minus 1 and x plus 1. Okay, another. Okay. Sige. Thank you for answering, guys. So everything is positive in the fourth example. Okay, may answer na si Meiji. Meiji. Oh, double check your answer, ha? Baka napagpapalit nyo. So it's necessary that you have to check the middle term, guys, kasi it's expected that the product of the first and the last terms will be correct because we base our factors from the first and the last terms. We have to verify if that matches the OI, the outer, the sum as we add the product of the outer and the inner terms matches. No, meron tayong we have two different answers from the group. And the correct factors class are 5x plus 3 and x plus 1. Okay? So here, um, this is 3x, no? 3 times x, and then 5x times 1 is 5x. So as we combine 5x and 3x, we get 8x. So others were accidentally interchanged 3 to 1. So others had an answer or had the factors equal to 5x plus 1 and then x plus 3. But when you check the middle term, it does not match with the middle term, right? Okay, sige. So, number 5, how about number 5, guys? Okay, may mga answer na. Si Rian Peregrine, Rovi, Reggie Ray, Aaron, Eliza. I guess same sila ng mga answers. Angelica, Gabriel, Julien, Mark, Kurt. I see same answers, no? Um, Lian, Joaquin, Alan, John, Cristel. Okay, and your answer is correct, guys. So the factors for number 5 quadratic trinomial are we have x minus 3 and the other one is x plus 11. Okay? Number 6. Okay. Thank you for answering, guys. Okay, may answer na si Angelica, Joaquin, Aaron, same sila ng mga answers. Julian, Kurt, si Kurt, iba yung answer with the others, no? Princess, Reggie Ray, Eliza. Okay, sige. Dustin, Meiji. Okay, medyo ang bibilis eh. So, huwag magtatampo yung ibang hindi ko ma-mention yung names. Okay. And the correct answer for number 6 is 2x plus 3 and x plus 7. Okay. Now, for 2x squared, guys, so the factor is 2x and x. For 21, we know that we have 1 and 21, we also have 3 and 7. So why we chose 3 and 7? So by like placing 3 here and 7 here, as we check the middle term, 17x, it matches with the sum of 3x here and 14x, and that's 17x. Okay, so these are the correct factors. Okay, so at least you know when you get a wrong factors, at least you know the correct factors, no? Okay, how about number 7, guys? Okay, may answer na si Cristel. Same answer with Rian, Meiji, Matthew. Okay. Julian, Ruby, Aaron, Gabriel, Alan, Eliza, Reggie, Precious, Princess, Dustin, Joaquin, Karil. Okay, I guess same ng mga answers sila, no? Dustin, ba't apat yung binomial factors mo dyan? Okay. And the correct answer, your factors are correct, no? It's 5x minus 1, then the other one is x plus 1. Okay, thank you for okay. Okay. So thank you for participating, and I guess Sir Saki has reached out to you as regards to the change of schedule in math, if there is, and your new math teacher will be Sir Saki. Okay, although we've discussed about team teaching with Sir Saki. So if Sir Saki will not be available, I'll be doing the same thing as what I did for today for you to have this discussion. But I'd like to know, do you find it hard to learn in this modality, guys? And let me read the question of Angelica. Okay. What if when we are checking if the sum is same as the middle term, paano po kung zero yung sum, pero yung middle term po, walang coefficient, like x lang po siya? Um, we are expecting, Angelica, that the factors for a quadratic trinomial is two binomial factors. Okay. But also, there are quadratic trinomial which have a roots or solution which are not real number. So when we say solution, di ba, we have two binomial factors. If we equate each binomial factor to zero, like we transpose the constant term, so for example, we have x minus 1 and then the other one is x minus 2. If we equate to zero each factor, like x minus 1 equals 0, so we get x equals 1, and then the other one is x minus 2 equals 0, we get x equals 2. And obviously 1 and 2 are real numbers. There are instances that the root, so that 1 and 2 are the roots, no, that I am referring to. There are instances that we cannot find two binomial factors for a quadratic trinomial. So our discussion is limited to a quadratic trinomial with roots which are real numbers, no? So in that sense, we will be able, or should I say rational numbers, no? So our discussion for factoring quadratic trinomials is limited to roots with rational numbers. So you cannot encounter those, Angelica. Yeah, Regire is correct. When we say x, that's 1x. Did I answer your question? Nasagot ko ba yung question mo, Angelica? Kasi if the sum is 0, it will not fall under quadratic trinomial. So it could be like the sum is 0. We remember difference of two squares. The middle term is always cancelled because it's 0. Parang ganun yung case niya. But in the case of quadratic trinomial, I guess never that the middle term will be a 0, will be equal to 0. Okay, so thank you for all your questions, for listening in the discussion, and I've sent all my lecture video to Sir Saki, and Sir Saki and I are planning for team teaching. So if he's not available, I can take over. But I'd like to ask, is it do you learn in this kind of live session? Can you give me a feedback? Yeah, leave na lang. I-leave na lang 'yon. I guess there are two corrections in your activities, no? So you just have to leave, or I guess one classmate of you asked me, and then I told him na i-write bonus na lang. So okay lang whether you leave or you write bonus, okay lang 'yon. Arlene, sorry if yeah, yung tanong mo, no? So I was able to address your question, but you're asking if you're going to leave or to write a note. Okay lang na you leave. Okay, any more question? Okay. So I guess we are done. I'm looking forward to meet all of you here for another session or for a review. I'll ask the permission of Sir Saki. But okay. So that is what I was saying, yung explanation ni Lawrence, no? Not every quadratic expression is a perfect trinomial. So not all expressions will converge to a rational number, otherwise the roots would be irrational, but these cases exist still. Okay. So yun yung ina-explain ko kanina. Okay. So guys, thank you for participating. Until we meet again. Bye. So I will end the broadcast now. We'll share this video. Bye everyone.